Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Today I'm going to be doing a marathon build. I'm going to be doing from stages 24 to 36 of the Fanhome release of Build the Power Rangers Megazord. Now I've actually just built the Megazord and I was going to show it off before the stream to show you what we're actually building and I was going to build it. But oh my god, it looks amazing at the end. So stay tuned and I will tease you at the end rather than show you now and you just don't watch the video afterwards. So it's absolutely brilliant build. I really am enjoying this build. I don't know if it's still available though, so you will have to check. I have got a link in my video description and all of my links, including my Amazon store, merch store, everything else is just down here on the QR code and in the video description as well. But marathon build today, without further ado, let's get cracking. So to that end, in stage 24, we're going to be starting Tyrannosaurus Dinozord's head. A few bits here to put in. Looks like we've got some LED lights as well, so we're going to be creating that just like this. So, this is the magazine. Let's get this started. And here we go. Here's stage 24 here. Just looking at these two parts here, it looks like we've got some sprues, so I am going to need my sprue cutters for this. But the first thing I want to do, take this part here, this lovely red part, and I'm going to be putting this silver part into place. It's actually going to be fitting just on top like this here, held in from the other side with 4 PWB screws. Now, these are the only screws that come in this pack, so let's put all 4 of these in place. That's the last one going in there, so that's looking like that. Let me just put that to one side. And I am going to just now cut off the eye lenses here. And also some LED housings that I've got on another sprue. Okay, so they look identical, but the one that's got the notch, I don't want that one. I want this one here. And I have got an LED to put in here. So what I'll do is I open this, just straighten out the wire. These are identical, just so you know, so it doesn't matter which one we use. But I am going to be slotting this into this eye section here. It's actually going right at the back into the cavity, just like that. Put that to one side just for a second while I bring over Dinozord's head. And I'm going to then put one of these eyes into place. I believe the one I'm holding is the one. There you go. Looks good. I've just realised actually there is a notch just onto both of these for this wire to go through, because I'm going to be putting this into place now, which is going to go over the top of this. It will hold that lens into place there. And once again, I'm securing that in with these black PWB screws. And I need 2 of these. That's good. And then what I've done on one side, I'm going to be doing on the other side. Now, they are labelled, these housings. We've left them right because it's upside down. It's obviously opposite, but I've got the right one here. So once again, I want to have it so that the wire is at the same side as the notch. So that when the notch goes down there, I'm holding it like that, and then I can put it into here like that, which does mean I just need to put the other eye in. It can only go in one way. So if it doesn't fit one way, just flip it round. And there we go, that's got in perfect. And there we go. PWB screws once again to hold that into place. The last thing left to do is to put this lovely big row of teeth in, which means I'm just going to be, this is a push in, just line this up with the underside of the jaw and push that in. Oh, they're quite sharp. But that's all there is to do in that stage. In stage 25, again, loads more work on the Tyrannosaurus head here. Here's the rest of the magazine. These boxes do get bigger, and I've got a lot of boxes this size. It's a testament to how big this model is going to actually be. I'll get all of this out. And the first thing I'm going to be doing is making the bottom drawer, which means that I need to just put these two parts together. They go in the same way as that top drawer does. I'm just lining this bottom section up here and then pushing that in. And all those teeth are sharp as well. I've then got to put in this section, which looks like some sort of tongue, but also looks like cannons, as you can see there. I've got some little bushes, clear bushes to put on either side here. This is going to be providing friction for this jaw when it opens. So one on each side. And I'm going to put that to one side. And I'm going to bring over the left side of the Tyrannosaurus head. So what we're going to be doing now is attaching this just on the side here. Just like that. I'm holding it in with a PB screw. Once again, these are the black screws. I'm very conscious on this build. It doesn't actually label the screws up. Get that in nice and tight. And then onto that, we're going to need to put this surround here. Now, this is actually going to be going onto this center hole like this. But before we do any of that, what I need to do is, again, get my sprue cutters and cut off all the parts from this sprue. Okay, now this is actually going to be fitting underneath this section just here. What I need to do, though, is I want to take one of these little pivots here and put one of the clear O-ring kind of washers on here. Perfect. Now that's going to be going through the inside here. We're going to have another one on this side here. And then when I put this onto this section, which I'm keeping these wires out the way at the moment, I want it to go onto this middle section just here, this way round. That is excellent. And that's going to be held in once again with a PB screw. You do have to press quite hard to stop it rotating on the other side. But there we go. We're starting to make the neck now. Now I want to take the other side of the left part of the head and put these together. Just like that. And then once again, a PB screw just through the hole on this side is going to hold those together. I'm then in a position to take the jaw. I'm going to be putting this into place here. Remember, I've got those bushings in here. So I want to make sure that's all the way down. So it's lined up that side like that. Which then means I can put this side of the head on. So I'm going to shut the mouth just so I can get my bearings with this. Can get a bit confusing. Put this into place. So I'm rolling this into position for the jaw. I'm going to be attaching with a PB screw, just 2 PB screws actually, through the holes here to hold this into place. It's quite clever how this head's gone together, I have to say. Now before I put the last one in, once again I want to take this pin and another O-ring here, put that on there. It's tiny things these are. I can see you losing these if you don't put them safe. Get that through this side, and I should still be able to get to the other side so I can put the other, see what I mean about losing them, there it is, on the other side here. Excellent. And then line that up with the hole just there and screw that in with a PB screw. That's good. And then just like last time, we're going to be putting this side of the head on, making sure that clips together just like that, and another PB screw just through here to hold that together. Harder to get in now because, there we go, the other side does impede it a little bit, but there we go, that's in place just like that. And then the last thing to do is I'm going to be tracing the wires that come down and hooking them through the notch that I've got just there, and I have got a clip to put into place here. Now I can't be sure I've got this on the right way, but I've put it on there. I think that's how it goes. The pictures aren't very clear, but I've done it that way round. Let's do one on the other side as well. If I have to spin them, I will. It is a little bit confusing about what way round it goes. It looks like the open side goes towards the outside. Okay, so that's how that should look. And this is going to get fun now. Do you remember this? We're now going to be attaching what we've just created to this. So, having it this way round, what I'm going to do is put the head section into here. I need to fold back these parts just here of the head so I can get this in. This is going to be fitting in here like this, just slotting in. And I'm just lining up the bottom here at the moment. Because what I want to do, once I've got this into each hinge joint here, just like that, I've got these special bolts to go in that look like this here. So I'll line up this side first, drop a bolt through there, and then screw that in. We're going to need a bigger screwdriver actually. Yep, my PH1's going to make short work of that. Excellent, and then just put one in the other side. They're not magnetic, so you have to sort of line them up first and then screw them in. That's perfect. So with that in place, that is all there is to do in that stage. So obviously when it comes to transforming, this is now on a pivot, so it can actually just go back like this, you see. Clever. What I am going to do before I finish this stage, I'm just going to push this back because in the interest of showing you where I've just made a little mistake, I found a bag of washers that I still need to put in. And basically what they do is they go in, if I just take this side part off again, they go into this screw just there, so on each side. So I'll do one and then I'll just do the other one off camera. It just means taking that out there and then just reattach it by putting one of these washers on as well. See, I accidentally missed that. And just put all that back together. I'll do the other side. I don't know if that makes a difference, but well, I want to make sure that I do things properly. Because I've been accused on this channel of not doing things properly. But you know, there you go. And that is the end of that stage, which means I can just put that back in there. In stage 26, here's the instructions. We're going to be starting the left Tyrannosaurus arm. Not much to do in this one by the look of it. So the rest of the magazine. Here's stage 26. And just by picking up this pack, I can tell you straight away, this is all metal. You probably heard that when it fell out. Now, before I start, and before I even look at the instructions, I am just going to cut all of these parts off the sprue here. And the first thing I need is this metal claw, if you like. And I'm going to be putting the left side plastic insert in, which I've just cut off here. Now obviously the one that I'm putting in here was going to match the shape here. So this is going to be just going in like that. And it's held in with a PM screw. Now the PM screws this time are the silver ones. It ends in an M, so it's metal. So I'll put that just in there. I have put some oil on this as well. Okay, what I want to do then is take this claw here. What I want to do with this claw is I've got one of these clear washers which is going to go over the top of that section just there. Then I'm going to be putting this plastic top on like that. I've got another plastic washer to put here, just over the top there. And what we just created is actually just going to go into the top here, like that. I then have a washer which I'm going to be pushing down the top. God, this is getting fiddly. Hang on a second. And I'm also going to load the screw in there ready to go because I haven't got that many pairs of hands. So that I can actually screw this to the part below it. Which is hard because I don't want to dislodge that washer there. But I'm holding that in there. Drop that in. And then get this screw in. Boy, that was hard. Okay, that's in. That's looking like that. Okay. Now I want to hold that claw into place, which does mean I need to peel off another one of these really sticky washers, I call them, because they are all just stuck together. There we go. Put that over the top there. And then I've got this piece that I took off the sprue just to go on top like that. That's held in with a PB screw. Just down here. That's good. And then pretty much how we started this, I'm going to take the other claw, put this section in, and again, I want a silver screw this time to hold that into place. Again, I want a sticky washer, which is just going to be going over the top there. I'm going to be putting this onto this side here. So both of these claws here are then clipped together. So let me gently put this in. and clip them in like this. That's good. Drop a metal washer down there, and then one of the silver PM screws, and that's perfect. And with that in place, as you can see, we have a metal claw. Very clever. I like how that works. That's all there is to do in that stage. In stage 27, a little bit more of the left arm here. We're going to be adding this to what we've just created. This should be a quick stage. This is the rest of the magazine. And it's a lot smaller pack, this one. Check this out. Again, we've got some parts on a sprue. So before I even start, I am just going to snip these off with my sprue cutter. My sprue cutter here, just so you know, it is in my Amazon store. And the link is on the screen there. Starting this stage, we've got this joint here. Now, we've got a nut on one end. It goes in with the nut first, but we do want it to sit flush. So it is shaped of how this goes in just like that. I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing on, let me get it right, this part just here. Again, I'm putting the nut in first, but then making sure it is the correct shape so that it will fit all the way down into the cavity there. And then quite simply, if this is the arm here, I'm going to be having this one on top, sliding through the other side of that joint, and it's going to take some pushing. It does take a lot of pushing. I think I might need a little bit of percussive force actually. There you go. That's lovely and flush there now. And then I'm going to be putting the other side on here and clipping them together. So that is looking really good. Now we want to hide some of the holes here, and that's what these blankers are for. So I'll put one in this side here, just seeing if there is a way they go in. I don't think there is. So it is just a case of lining them up. Ah, there we go. And pushing them in so they're nice and flush like that. Do exactly the same on the other side. Now these are definitely going to need some glue in them. So I will just drop some glue just around that whole area there and on the other side. And I'll get these back in. And then there's no danger now of these falling out. Perfect. Now we do have this little piece here left over, but that is all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 28, we've got more of the left arm of the Tyrannosaur. I'm going to be putting this together like this. So that's how that's looking. This is the rest of the magazine. Perfect. And I have got those parts here. I have to admit, this build, it's a lot more detailed than I thought it was going to be. There's a lot of big pieces in here, and there's a lot of pieces as well. Okay, so this time we're going to be taking the arm over, and I've got two parts of the forearm to put into place here. So I want the longer piece to be going on this side here, just pushing that into place. And then this one is going to go its partner just on the top and just push that into place like that. Excellent. Right, put that to one side. Bringing over what looks like a shoulder section now, and I've got a joint to put into place here. Now this joint is going to be going into this side. These are really strong joints, just so you know. I have seen these before, but they're held in from this side with PWM screws. Now these are silver screws, but we do want to put them in with the washers that I've got here. So it's going to be one of the screws onto a washer and then put this into place here. But there you go, that's one in just like that. I'll do the other three. Perfect. And then I'm going to do exactly what we've done on this side with the shoulder now. So the part that we've just created is actually going to be going into that section there. So there is a slot for this to go into. So I'm just lining up the slot with that joint in there. So then that can push all the way down. And then I'm just going to be clipping the other side on here. Pushing that together just like that. And I'm holding it together just with one of the black PB screws, which I've got here. That'll go in here. And then do you remember that part that we had left over from last time? You've guessed it, it's going to go in here. So what I'll do is I will just put a little bit of glue just around here, just so I can put this into place. That's good, and that is one arm complete. Which means in stage 29, we're going to be doing the other arm. Now, we're a dab hand at this, so let's just whiz through stage 29. Once again, get everything out. We've seen all this before. Cut everything from the sprue. Take this one first and line that up with its partner here, which goes in there, and I'm holding that in with one of the silver screws. So you know, I didn't notice it first time. These screws, as you can see, have already got a thread lock on them. So that's good. That's what that little bit of blue paint is at the end. And then just like last time, I'm going to be putting one of my invisible O-rings on there. Putting the top on here. It's probably best to lay all this down because it can get a little bit fiddly now. Putting another rubber, I keep calling them O-rings, I don't know what they are, on there. Taking what we just created, this is going to be going on top there. Dropping in one of the metal washers. And then another one of these thread lock screws. Get that all together. That's gone together a lot easier that time. Turn it over. Once again, invisible washer just on there. Remember this time, this is going in with a PB screw, which is one of the black screws here. And then just like last time again, putting this together here, attaching with a metal screw. Ensuring that we have an invisible washer just onto this section here, which I've got here. Just lay that on. This is hard, this bit, because you've got to kind of clip this in and then line it up. So it's a case of making sure it goes on the clip and then pushing that on like that. That's good. A metal washer down the end, and then a thread lock screw to go through everything. That was lucky, that just dropped in there then. And then once that's on, there we go. You've got another claw done. As you can see, they move fine. So we're certainly whizzing through it. I do try to keep all of this build kind of like together. So if we're working on the Tyrannosaur, I'm going to try and keep all of this batch together. But as you see, we are going to be adding on to the Tyrannosaur now, looking like this in stage 30. Again, small pack for this one, but I am going to need to take everything off the sprue. And once again, we're going to be putting this joint into here, which means I've got to match this off so it can fit nice and flush in there. Do the same on this piece. So that's going to fit flush all the way in there. And then having it this way round, I want this to go on top here. And again, this bit's a little bit hard to push in, but there we go. I've got that all the way in without having to hammer it that time. And I'll put the other side on just here. All we've got left to do then, just like last time, is drop some glue to each side here to cap those screws so we can't see them ever again. Doing things like that is attention to detail, big time. We save this for the next stage. So in stage 31, I guess we're finishing the arm by doing the shoulder section here just like last time and putting that together just like this. And this is the rest of the magazine. And here is stage 31 here. Get all this open. And once again, I'm going to be putting all of this together. So I want the longer of the sides here, which is this one, whoops, which I just dropped here. And that's going to be going on this side just here, making sure that that goes all the way through, then putting its partner on top, just like that. So that's the forearm completed. Then we're going to be working on the shoulder section, which means once again, I need to put the joint in here, open this bag of screws. And this bag of screws also contains all the washers, as you can see there. Put a washer over one of the silver screws and then get this screwed in just from this side. And once again, once we get one in, it'll be easy to put all the other three in. Perfect. And then quite simply, we're going to use the slot here to line up this part of the shoulder to make sure that goes in all the way, putting its partner on the other side, and then putting a screw, which is a PB screw, one of the black ones here, just through the top. That'll keep them together. And then a bit of glue here to put this cap in, so we never see that screw again. And that is the final arm complete. So in stage 32, we're going to be starting the Tyrannosaur torso. So that's looking like this. Excellent. We really are having a marathon today, aren't we? And these are big old packs. Look at that. Okay, get this open. Okay, first thing I want to do is we've got these clips here, which we're going to be putting into each side of the bodywork here. So the way they go in is they're basically clipping in. So you just need to make sure we've got the correct side, just like this, and sort of like clip them underneath so it fits in like that. Let's do the same on the other side here. Again, we have some tabs, so it's just a case of putting the tabs in that side and then clipping this side underneath. Excellent. There we go. That's those two in. Put that to one side. I'm now going to be taking this section here with the detailing on that. I need the back section of this, and I also need this hinge joint, which is actually going to go in here this way round, and I'm going to be pinning it with one of these long pins here. Now it's actually this size pin, not the very long one, just this side that we need. That's going to go through the whole thing here, and I do want to get that through the other side, so get my little percussion instrument and just hammer that in like that. Perfect. Going to put this into place now. So this is just a case of putting this through the front and then closing it off here so that then this fits over the lug that we've just got there. And I'm holding that in with one of the black PB screws. That'll keep that front bit into place. I've got another clip here, which is actually going to go right on the top, just here, like that. And again, that's held in with one of the black PB screws. So now that's looking like that. And obviously this is able to open and close. Put that to one side, and we're going to bring over this little caddy now, which is going to be holding a circuit board in here. Well, actually, this is a IR receiver by the look of it. So what we want to do is take the wire for this and make sure that feeds through the hole, so then I can mount this into position just here. Once again, I need the black PB screws, and that's going to hold that IR receiver into place. And one on the other side. And then this is going to be going this way round on the bottom. So the IR receiver is going to be facing the front. But this time we're going to be using this really big pin to hold them together. So line everything up, put it all the way through. Make sure it comes out the other side. There you go. And that's in just like that. And with that into place, that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 33, big frame here for the torso, which we're going to be putting the arms to, as you can see. I'm mounting this together, so that's how that's looking. This is the rest of the magazine. Once again, another massive pack. We do have a battery in here. I didn't get any spare batteries, so I'm wondering if that battery is actually going to work okay. I think. Okay, and having this way round, we're going to be putting in the arm first. So this is going to be the left arm that we're putting in. It's actually going to go into the side there, lining up the holes just on the side, and I'm going to be putting them in with the PWM screws exactly the same way. Means I've got to put one of the washers on here, line up the hole, get this in, and then we need 4 of these to secure this into place. And as you can see, that's both of these arms in place. I want to take what we worked on the torso section, And I'm going to want this to be sitting into the two holes just at the bottom there. When we do this, we need to make sure we're attaching it from the front there. So this is able to move up and down. We want that to be able to happen, but I am holding this in just from this side with PB screws. And they go in through this side here, making sure that that lead isn't pinched. But you know you've done it right, because you should be able to open that there and close it there. So that's good. Okay, this battery. I want to just open this because to me, that looks blown. Can you see how it seems to be puffed up? That's kind of dangerous. Let me just show you another one. I've got another one here. Okay, I've just opened a few batteries here. I kind of thought that they were blown. They look a little bit puffed up there. But I was looking at the others and they look okay to me. So I'm hoping these are going to work. We're going to find that out soon. What I am going to do, once again, is I'm going to take this sponge, just like this, and I'm going to be wrapping this around the battery. Now, this battery is going to get hot when it's in use. So I think that's what this sponge here is for. But with those two parts done, that's all there is to do in that stage. So let's move on to stage 34. We're adding some electrics into the back section by the look of this, and we're attaching the battery. And this is the rest of the magazine. So does that mean we're on 11 stages so far? All I know is it's another massive pack. Okay, we've got a couple of little bits here, which straight away I'm just going to cut off the sprue. Every time I see a sprue now, I'll just cut these off. These look like the covers for the switch, which is going to turn it on and off. But what I am going to do then is put in this board just into position here. It's going to go this way round, and it's held in with PB screws, which I've got in here, and one just here. Excellent. Now with the battery we had just made, this is going to be going into this point just here. Fits lovely and flush in there. And I want to plug this into the larger of the ports just here. So it goes down into the corner just there. On the front of the Tyrannosaur here, we've got this IR lead. That's going to go into the port just above it here. Perfect, that's into place. We're going to leave that loose because with these two parts here and the things that we just cut off the sprue, that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 35, looks like we've got the base here to go in. We're going to be connecting all of this up just like that, the front and the back, putting the bottom on, putting this together. So it's going to look like that. Obviously we haven't done any of the feet yet, but we would have the top half done. So that's looking just like that. We're connecting it all up and then putting this together just like that. So we've got the top half done, and I think that's where we're going to leave it. Now, as a matter of fact, I've just looked at stage 36, and because there's only a little bit left to do of the Tyrannosaur in stage 36 before we move back to Sabertooth, I'm going to do 36 as well. So let's get this done. Okay, so taking the front of the Tyrannosaur here, we're going to be putting a part in from this stage, which is this green detail just here. And that's going to hide the inference sensor. So I'm just going to put this into place. It is got a way that it goes round so it can fit flush in there. And this is just a push in. So I'll push that in just like that. Put that to one side. And now I want to take the back section here. And I've got a plate to put into that. So this is going to be going in. Let's get it right. This is going to go in that way. So that's how it's looking from this side. And I'm holding that in with one of the black PW screws. There's different kind of screws in this one. So the black PW screws has got kind of like the roundish head on it. But that's in place. I've got another one of those joints that we had for the shoulder, which are actually going to go into the base here, which eventually is going to be attaching to the bottom section again. Of course, we put these in exactly the same way, silver screws with washers. So I'll get all four of these in. There you go, they're all in. I want to take this back section and I'm now going to be putting the head into place that we created. So I put this on here. It's just going to go over the 2 points just there, like that. This is held in with these flanged black screws I've got here. And I need 2 of these. These are PWB screws. Make sure these wires are on the inside. We will still be able to get to these wires in a second, because when I put this section on, remember this cover comes down at the front. I'm just going to make sure everything's encased in there when I push this together like this. And then I want to line everything up as well. Just like this here. That looks good. And then to hold it all together, it's actually held together from the base by putting the base on here. So once that's on, those 2 parts are now held together. Now I need KB screws for that. These are the black screws with the flat heads on them. So 4 of these to put in. And now I want to pull down his front here. And there's a little square just at the back there, which I'm going to need to put one of those switches in. Now, someone did advise me on this, but I don't think I'm going to need to do it. It's basically when I've got that in there, I'm going to be putting the switch of this panel here attached to that. So I've got 2 vacant ports left on this. So I'm going to now plug in the last of the eyes into each one. So everything's now plugged in here, and then lining that switch up for all the parts down the bottom. I'm going to put this into place. That looks good. And I'm holding it in with some of the black PB screws. And there you go. And if you've done that right, the hole should line up with the port there. And then when you press this button just underneath, the lights should, if I press the button, come on. There you go. And that's all there is to do in that stage. So the last stage of this marathon build, as you can see, we've just got some last parts here for the shoulders, which we're just going to be putting into place just like this. Excellent. Just showing you how to convert the head to the Tyrannosaurus head. And this is the rest of the magazine. It is worth noting that when they're talking about the remote control at the back which operates this, that this doesn't completely deactivate the thing, because it will drain the batteries, so you do need to physically press that button on the back. But this is the last pack of the top section. We've done the whole top section of T-Rex, the Tyrannosaurus, should I say. Okay, first section here I need looks just like this, and I'm going to be adding one of these clips into this. It actually just slides in this way, so that's sitting in just like that. Now bringing over what we've been creating here, what I'm going to want to do is put this onto his shoulder area here. So the top section here actually just slides on like this. So it's actually sitting in on its own there. All I'm going to do then is take the back section, which looks like this, and that's just going to be going on the other way here, exactly the same way. It's going to slide on and push both of those together. That is quite clever how that works. I'm holding it in with PB screws. Gonna need 2 of these. And then to finish that off, I've just got a cap, which I'm going to be putting over the top here, just like this, and then push that into place. There we go. It's one of the shoulder sections complete. Could do exactly the same on the other side. So just lie that down kind of like that. Once again, push this clip into here. Push the front onto that section there. Push this back section, same way, whoops, other way around, onto here. Making sure that all goes together like that. Black PB screws to hold that into place. That's perfect. And then I'm just hiding the back section by pushing this section in just like that. And there we go. That is the Tyrannosaur top section completed. Now we do have some parts here which are back to Sabertooth again. I'm just going to keep them to one side. If I wanted to convert this or change the head on here, all I've got to do is push down on this section at the back. By doing that, it's going to open this front section here. That will enable this head here to fold down. as you can see, and that's brought up the head just there. And then I can put this back into position here, which just clips in, just like that. So now we have got the head. That's very clever. But that's all there is to do in that stage, and that's all there is to do on all the stages that I'm going to be doing today. So as you can see, that is pretty amazing. And once again, if I just press this button here, if I can find it in the lights, and the lights come on, that's looking really good, isn't it? I love it. Absolutely love it. Anyway, I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.